Buildings don't just sprout out of the ground like trees, although that would be very entertaining. Instead, the buildings are subjected to a design process that's pretty laborious, and it takes place for a long time before you ever see a building. And it's performed by design professionals known as architects and various types of engineers, such as structural, mechanical, electrical, HVAC, and even landscape and civil, if I didn't say that already. So these designers have to put onto, used to be paper, now it's virtual paper, whatever their vision is about this building, so that some other parties can come along and actually build to it. And not only do they have to do that, but they have to be coordinated in such a way that one design professional's work doesn't interfere or collide with another. Generally, it falls upon the architect to draw coordinated drawings that take into account the fact that there may be HVAC ductwork going through somewhere, or electrical conduits going through somewhere, or just structural columns going through somewhere that should not interfere with or occupy the same space and time as the rest of what the architect planned, such as like the living space itself. So this work of coordination can be thought of as being constructability. So constructability is putting a building together in the easiest, most efficient, most error-free way possible. And a lot of that takes place on the drawing boards, or the virtual drawing boards, before anyone actually even puts a shovel in the ground. There are aspects to it, aside from this virtual coordination that I already referred to, that can get a little bit more granular, and our facade issues come into play. Like, for instance, I'll give you a good example. You have a curtain wall, which is a big wall of glass that extends beyond the slab edges up the vertical face of the building. That curtain wall is attached to the edges of the slab, and the slab is poured much earlier than the curtain wall comes along. And when the curtain wall attaches to it, it needs to attach in a very strong structural way. And so what we have now evolved, and very often in very many cases, we have embedments that are placed in the slab edge. The slab edge, before it's poured, somebody puts something in there that receives a screw or a fastener in a sort of adjustable fashion, and that thing is anchored into the concrete. When the concrete is poured, that thing is solidly in there, like forever. It's very, very solid, so that when the curtain wall guys come along, they can attach to it quite simply. But who's going to put it there? Who's going to lay out where it goes? Who's going to draw the drawings that show where it goes? Who's going to literally place it on the slab edge before the concrete goes in? What is it going to attach to? What is the in and out dimension, the up and down dimension, the whole thing? It's all got to be done right. If it's done right, you'll have a very constructible building. But then there's another level of it, and that is, number one, the concrete has tolerances. It's allowed to be a certain amount up, down, in, or out beyond its ideal positioning. That's called construction tolerances. The anchors that go in have to be placed in such a way, and the whole anchorage attachment area has to be done in such a way to accommodate all of that. But it's not even that simple. It goes beyond that. The concrete, as much as we think of it as being a solid surface, it really isn't, because when you remove the formwork, which is the boards that hold it all up, when it was poured, sooner or later those forms are removed, and then there's another support called reshoring, and then that's removed. And when it is removed, the slab will go down a little bit, and that's called going down under its self-weight, or otherwise known as a relatively immediate or instantaneous deflection. And then beyond that point, for another like 10 years into the future, that slab is going to creep down a little bit more and a little bit more, and that's called long-term deflection. And it doesn't go uniformly because it's being held up by the two columns on either side. The columns are not really going to go down very much, although they do a minuscule amount, but they're not really very much. And so the slabs can then assume a smile rather than a flat surface. Sometimes the structural engineer will specify that the slab is poured with a camber, meaning it goes up in the middle, so that over time it'll just flatten out and be straight. But most of the time we don't see cambers. What we just really see is that the slab is allowed to deflect that certain amount, and the structural engineer hopefully can predict what that amount will be. And then that gets coordinated with the curtain wall guy who is going to determine that his anchorage system can handle not only the tolerance of the embedments itself, the up, down, in and out tolerances of the slab edge, and also the instantaneous and long-term deflection of the slab. So that gives you just a flavor of the type of coordination that goes into making a building more constructible, and that's just the beginning of the story. If you have any constructability stories you'd like to share, put them in the comments. Thanks for watching.